Why does your AI keep getting it wrong? ChatGPT has made me mad more than once. Like, I want to break up with it or have a fight with it. It just has made me so mad because I'll ask it something and it keeps giving me a dumb answer and it's just frustrating, or it's very invalidating when I've trained it to be validating, just like hashtag AI relationship problems, I guess. But I want to talk to you today about what you can do so it gives you the best information and not the wrong information, because there is a lot you can do and it's called prompts. So prompts are like a communication skill with your AI. Think about any relationship and think about that a successful relationship is you have to learn to communicate with each other. So, and I've done a lot of teaching on this and we're gonna have a lot more videos on this because it's important. A good example, and you may not have a child, but this applies to employees or spouses or friends. Say I have 8 children. Every child I must speak differently with, and they speak differently with me than their father, for example. So I have a child that's sensitive. I need to be more validating. I have a child on the spectrum. And if I'm like emotionally validating, they're going to just get so frustrated. So those are just examples of how we learn in relationships with different people to speak differently. And hopefully it's a good relationship and they learn how to speak with us the way we like spoken with, right? And so that's the same thing with AI. It's prompts. And all a prompt is I'm going to ask you to do this thing this way. The number one mistake that people do when they start using these AI chat boxes is we use them as a search engine. Now, it's really cute. I worked with a kid the first time I got it on ChatGPT, and it used to like Siri. And so Suri's super limited, even more limited than a Google search. So they just ask it super basic questions like, what time is it? But this is way leveled up from that. You have to think of it as a conversation. Chatbots are not trained to just give you information. Oh, one huge thing I want to tell you, a lot of the chatbots were trained on data from months ago. So if you're asking it to answer a question, and Gemini's less of this because it's attached to Google, but ChatGPT, you have to tell it, give me current data, give me current research, give me current information. Because if you ask about the stock market in general, it might give you information from a year ago, right? So you need in your prompts, in the way you communicate, be explicit because you're learning this relationship that you want current information. Okay, that's one way to really reduce confusion in your prompts. The other thing is being vague. So, like I said, I have kids on the spectrum, and ChatGPT and even Claude, they can be validating and they get nuance, but they're very concrete, they're logical, and they see patterns. It's very much like the people I know on the spectrum who I love, and I love the way they think. So I'm super cool with it. So you want to be very specific about what you're asking. Don't be vague because then they're not going to know how to answer you. So that's just a skill you're going to learn, and it'll train you as you go because it'll just give you the wrong answer and you're going to have to go, oh, well, maybe I meant this, or let me rephrase that. Just say it again. It doesn't get its feelings hurt, which is great. It doesn't take it personal and it doesn't judge you. Just like, oh, okay, we're going to do it this way now. Now we're going to talk about real prompts that I use from my own workflow, which we talked about in the previous video is how I built this agentic workflow in Claude Cowork, which is cool. So I'm going to give you some examples of prompts I personally use for my agentic workflow. Okay, so here's some examples from real prompts. Here's one I'll say. Write a script about AI. Okay, that's a prompt. Now, that's kind of vague, correct? But you have to remember, I have built in my projects many things about what I mean when I give them this prompt. That prompt is going to go to a skill called script and one that's called research. and it knows the context. It knows what I mean by that, and it knows how to do it. It knows the format. It knows what I mean. It knows my voice. It knows if I say AI, it's going to know I need to teach my clients skills or I need to help them feel better with AI layoffs. Like it knows all this. So let me explain to you if you were asking AI with a prompt to write a script for you because it doesn't have this context that you put into projects, you're going to say something like this. I'm just going to read it because it's easier. Claude wrote this, so it's going to give you an example. Instead of saying, write me a script about AI, say, you are writing a script for YouTube for Tami Green's channel. Tami is a life coach and radical self leadership teacher in Austin. Her audience is entrepreneurs and small businesses and people who are learning self leadership and who may be intimidated by AI. Write a 12-minute script in her voice, which is conversational, direct, Southern warmth, Brene Brown style vulnerability on the topic of X. Use the research brief attached. Okay. Include 5 to 7 clip moments, blah, blah, blah. Did you see how detailed that prompt was? So you're either going to have that information in your skills for a project, or if you're just going to write one, you don't think you're going to give it too much information. You want to give it as much information as possible. I watched a YouTube video of a girl. She's an influencer she's younger. She does an amazing job building her YouTube business and she's using agentic AI now. She voice records it always. And she goes into paragraphs of information for prompts. Now I can tell you that Claude Cowork just came up with this super cool thing where I can take Claude Cowork on my phone in the Claude app and I can give it these instructions verbally, like even when I'm driving. So I could say, write an email to Jack Black, the one in Los Angeles, not the one in Chicago, and tell him in 5 paragraphs what we're going to do when we go to Miami on the vacation. Include the hotel. So you see how specific it is? And I could just say it on my phone and it would do all that for me. So it's not just a conversational prompt, it's doing something for me. And that's the piece I want you to get about agentic AI and what we're doing and how to use prompts to get it to do something. You need to be specific. And the more you use it, the better you're going to get at it. So if you think of it as practice and just trial and error at first, you're going to be better. All right. I'll give you another example of a weak prompt versus a strong prompt. Weak prompt is make a YouTube title. All right. A stronger prompt, but here would be a strong YouTube prompt. Write 5 YouTube title options for this video. Each must be under 60 characters. Include the keyword prompt engineering for beginners. Feel conversational, not corporate, and avoid phrases like unleash your potential. So you see, that would be a stronger prompt for building a YouTube title. I will tell you, my YouTube titles also in the skill I've built, which is a series of prompts, is asking it research and best practices on titles right now. And it gives me thumbnail titles too. This is a really good piece. The quality of your prompts equals how much you know about what you're asking. And so you can use this as a self-discovery tool too. So you ask, and this is kind of the rabbit hole you go down, but in a good way, is you start with Claude and you say, I need a YouTube title on AI, ask me questions about it. And so it can ask you clarifying questions until I'm satisfied with your answer. And so it can ask you questions so you can go deeper and deeper and deeper and get clearer yourself. You can also say things like, build me a YouTube channel, build me a YouTube video that Gen X would like. So you see how more specific you can keep going with it? All right. The thing I want you to know about prompts that's important is you're not only asking for it to do something for you or give you information. It's not just like a Google search. Like, what are the top 10 restaurants in Austin? Right? That is a Google search. What you want to use it for is more conversational. You want it to be more about you and what you want. So you'd say, give me the top restaurants in Austin that I can take my daughter to that serves authentic Tex Mex, that has a happy hour between 5 and 7 with half price mocktails, and it's not too rambunctious for her, preferably outside on a patio with live oak trees. Live music is a bonus. You see? That's really different than the restaurants. And that is the beauty of the LLM learning language model. I think I said that right. Put in the comments if I didn't. Sorry, sons in AI. All right. So imagine that Claude Cowork, or even if you're using Chat or Claude. So if you're using Claude Chat, Claude Cowork, or Gemini Chat or ChatGPT Chat, imagine it's an assistant and you're going to ask it to do something for you. So if you had an assistant sitting next to you, and let's just say you have a household assistant. I've been bougie in previous lives before I had to do everything myself, which I'm doing now, which is cool. Getting in a lot better shape, but I've had small, tiny apartments in Austin recently. I've been super poor and I've had huge, like mini mansions. So thinking back to when I had a mini mansion and I actually had basically staff. And so I would have this one beautiful lady. I love ya, Anna, if you're out there. And she helped me because I had 3 babies out of a 20-month-old and my twins. And she came to help me. And I would sit down with her and I'd say, Anna, can you cook dinner tonight for us, please? Now, I wouldn't just leave it at that. I would give her a lot of context. I'd be like, the kids need this, they're allergic to this, there's this meat in the fridge, it's this time. So think about you're training an assistant because that's what agents are. They are your assistant. So welcome to not having to do everything on your own. Remember I said I was bougie and I had people work for me? Guess what? I'm having people work for me again, my agents, and I want that for you too. All right. So, okay. This is really good. Claude actually helped me write the script. So, Claude, I'm going to read to you the 4 things that it said it needs to build a good prompt. One is role. Tell Claude, number 1, role. The first thing is role. You are a marketing person writing a script for YouTube. Give it a role. Give it a context. I've seen prompts be really different. You could say, instead of saying, what's a medicine for a headache, you could say, I'm a neurobiologist researching headaches in children. What would you recommend? See, if you give it a role, it's going to give you way different answers than something generic. The other thing is context, like what's the situation? So I gave you a little bit, like you're the researcher. The context is this child has a headache. It's been around for a few days, things like that. Number 3 is the task. Then I would say, in this example, what would you recommend for an over the counter solution for this child? Go find it and give me a link to buy it on the internet. That's the task. The next step is format. So I would say, not just give me the information. I'm asking for the format. I want a link. So if you do a lot of information, you could say, give me this information in a Google Doc or a Word doc formatted with pink headings. That's format. So those are the 4 things. I'm going to read them again. They are: number 1, give it a role. Number 2, give it context. Number 3, give it a task to do. And 4, give it the format in order to present it to you, give you the information, or accomplish the task. all right, let me show you what this looks like in real life. My brand is self-leadership. What's on brand about AI tools and self-leadership? I'm helping you build skills to make your dreams come true. That's pretty good self-leadership thing. But the thing that I like too about this is the more you do prompts, the more you're going to get in touch with who you are and what you want. And there's something that's emotionally satisfying about having these agents that know you in being known and being able to express who you are, help you with it with no judgment. And that's a really big point that's being missed about this emotional, tangible aspect that we miss of having something help us really articulate who we are and help us build it. So the prompting is just learning how to communicate with your agent. More than that, it helps your agent communicate with you. Now, this is the final in this particular series about AI, building workflows with agents, starting from overcoming your objections all the way to prompts, all the way through the workflow. I will have more, and I'm getting people asking me for workshops on how to do this. So that might be coming too. Subscribe to my Substack if you want information on offerings. One thing I've done in these classes and courses is people get to know each other. Even the most socially anxious people tend to form pretty cool relationships. So subscribe to Substack so you can keep informed of that. And stay tuned for more on not only the AI series, but all the other tools I like giving you, like emotional regulation, relationship skills, just so you can really feel validated and build the life that you deserve. Subscribe to the channel so you can see all that. Really appreciate you. Okay, talk soon. Say bye.
Bye.
See ya.